I think my journey to writing this book was inspired not only by a lot of the questions that I get from my online community about how to work smarter and also how to take better care of their mental well-being and their overall health. It was also inspired by a lot of the struggles I see my friends and my family go through. I've had a lot of my friends work themselves to the ground and end up really unwell. I've seen people really close to me literally collapse in front of me because they were working 2 jobs. One of my closest friends was really unwell for a couple of weeks after getting quite burnt out too. And then there's my own personal struggles where I think I love to be busy. I love to always be working towards the next thing, but sometimes I can forget to pace myself, and I think it's really easy to find yourself experiencing these challenges and facing burnout or brain fog and getting to that point where you start to feel really exhausted, because the importance of rest is not acknowledged, it's not discussed. We don't glorify resting, we glorify being busy. And I think it's really important to shed more light on that and to take a more holistic approach to productivity, not expecting ourselves to be in this constant state of output all of the time, because it's not sustainable. See, it's interesting because initially when I came up with the idea to write this book, Work-Life Balance Survival Guide, it was mostly geared towards this focus on productivity. And I knew that rest was an important or integral part to being productive and to having a sustainable approach to getting things done. But initially I was inspired because I have so many people in my community, and it was actually my yoga teacher that came to me one morning before class and was sharing that she's had trouble focusing and sitting down and getting motivated to actually get her work done. And so initially my focus for this book was going to be more about how to improve your focus and attention. And the more I started to explore this topic, the more I started to write about it, the more I realized, wait a second, I think half of this book actually needs to cover things like rest and self-care and making sure that we're prioritizing our mental well-being, because otherwise we're actually not going to be able to be our most productive selves. So my intention for this book was not initially to shed light on this idea of balance, but somehow it just following that natural progression took a turn towards that direction, and it became a more holistic resource for people. And I think it's quite funny because one thing that I've always struggled with in my life is balance and not spending too much time working or too much time resting. And I think you need that. You need a healthy balance in life, and it's not always going to look the exact same way every day or every week or every month. It's just about tuning into your body and being really mindful or intentional with how you spend your time. But sometimes I feel like I just fell into this area and I didn't even mean to, but things just have a way of happening, and whatever's meant to be is what's going to be. And so whatever this book was meant to be about is what it is now about. I think we've lost balance for a number of reasons. The first reason that comes to mind is technology, this overstimulation that we're experiencing. Our work is quite literally following us everywhere, even into the bedroom, even into those last few minutes before our head hits the pillow. And so we're always on, we're always plugged in. And it's quite upsetting because I'll take my dog to the park and I'll see someone walking in and think, oh, how nice, they're enjoying, a nice afternoon in the sun, only to then see them sit down on the bench and pull out their phone. Or I saw a young girl the other day hop onto the swing in the playground and then pull out her phone. And so I think this idea of always being on, not just because of social media, but because work can follow us everywhere, makes it so much harder to find that balance, because it bleeds into the time where we otherwise would be slowing down, where we otherwise would be enjoying time in nature or time with friends or just time to ourselves. So I think technology makes it a lot harder to switch off and to really enjoy downtime or personal time. I also think that society or, just anyone really that we might be following on social media, following their journey to success, they're not sharing how much of an integral role rest played in them accomplishing their goals. They're sharing what they've accomplished and why they've achieved it, but we don't see all of those spaces in between all of the doing. And so one of my favorite lines that it's some advice that I received from someone about a couple of years ago, and it's just resonated with me, and it comes to mind all of the time, almost every day, is that we are human beings, not human doings. And yet it's almost like we've forgotten how to be human beings because we're always doing. And it's this idea of glorifying being busy. But I think the important question to be asking is, what are you so busy about? And that's actually one of the first things in my book that I share is a quote. And it's the idea that, you know, you can be busy, but you may not necessarily be productive, because what is it that you're working towards, or how are you spending your time? I want for my readers to feel a sense of comfort, to feel supported in life, and to feel like they're regaining a sense of control. I think it's gotten to the point where a lot of us feel like we don't have enough time in the day, or we don't know how to prioritize ourselves, or we find it hard to give ourselves permission to put ourselves first. So I want people to just feel almost like they can take a big exhale or a sigh of relief when they read this book, and to really feel supported in structuring their days in a more sustainable and realistic way. I basically want this book to be a really realistic approach to work-life balance, and for people to feel good about their lives as they're reading it, and to know that their challenges are challenges that a lot of us, or all of us, are experiencing to some degree. I don't want them to feel alone anymore, but I want them to feel empowered to take back that control and to create a life that is supportive, that is fulfilling, and that they can really enjoy, that they're not going to be coming up against these obstacles or this resistance to do what's actually right for them.